everybody, welcome back to my creative space. This is Emma. Welcome you once more to join me for some fabric fun today. An extremely warm welcome to you if it's your very first visit here, and otherwise thank you so much for coming again to join me here, even though we don't know where we're going with what we're doing. Isn't that exciting? Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support that you give me just by being here. I love your comments. I love reading what you suggest, all your ideas. It's fantastic just to connect with other people who are interested in creative things and colour and texture and fabric. It's just wonderful. I feel completely at home with you all, and it's just lovely to have you here with me. You are my raison d'etre at the moment. You're really, you're giving me an anchor with my weekly videos. It helps keep me focused. I'm so much more productive really since I started this channel. It's just brilliant. So thank you for your part in that, and I hope it's helping you to be creative too, and if nothing else, just having 15 minutes or so to yourself in a bit of peace and quiet, if you like, a bit of relaxation. So today I'm going to be showing you where we've got to with this piece, and I've had some ideas and some thoughts about it which I will share with you in a minute. It was very exciting to get to where we got to last week, but I'm just excited for what's yet to come. It's this idea that I'm doing something where I don't know where I'm going, and it's just brilliant. So the other thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you to you if you've been across to my Etsy shop to visit, and thank you to anybody, especially if you've purchased something. That all helps support what I do here on my channel. As I said last time, I really want this channel to just to be free and easy. That's my intention here. But what I was going to share with you today is I've had these beautiful little books printed. Ooh, there should be another one somewhere. Just a minute, I'll find the other one. I'm sitting on it. So I have got these beautiful little books, which are little kind of plain notebooks like this, just for putting in whatever you want to do. Really useful. They can sort of fit in your handbag or your pocket if you're going out and about and you want to make little notes on things, or just a pleasant little thing for you to have around in your creative space. So anyway, if you're interested, those are going to be in my Etsy shop. In fact, they'll be in my Etsy shop now because they are. Honestly, I forget what day I'm filming this. I forget what I've already done. It's just like my mind goes, ooh, how confused are you today? So there we go. I forget, the segueing of time, isn't it funny? I have to plan these things because I can't just suddenly put this up for you on a Wednesday. This takes a week beforehand to put it all together because I film each day and I do little bits and pieces. So please forgive me if I'm a little bit adrift on time. So anyway, let's focus and let's get on with this piece because I'm really excited to show you what sort of thoughts I've been having. Okay, so here we are. This is where we got to last time, and I've been having lots of thoughts about it. One of the things that came to me was when I was looking at it closely was this sense of energy that it has, this sense of flow and movement. And I don't think it matters whether you were going to work it this way or whether you're going to do it vertically, which is what I think I would like to do. And I felt like it's water. I feel as though it's got water going on. Now, whether this is a beach or whether it's actually the surface of the water with different colours going on, I don't know. But I started playing around with ideas, and this is what gets me going. This is how I start off. I just play around with thoughts and ideas. And I guess you could be doing this, you could do this on your computer, couldn't you? You could have a photograph of this and play around with it in some program or another. So I was just toying with the idea, if I was going to do it this way round, horizontally, could you put some fish in, and could you have a sense of things going on like that? Yes, of course you could. That would be really nice. And you could be doing sort of an ocean bottom type arrangement or something. I mean, it could be the other way up. It doesn't have to be this way up. So I was just playing around with these thoughts and ideas and seeing what might come. Once I started playing with that and just getting things moving, instead of thinking in my head, oh, I don't know what to do, once I started playing with things like that, things started to evolve. And definitely I would like to do it this way up for me personally. And then I was thinking, well, would I put, you could be having it as a really narrow slot but with really big pieces of seaweed, say. But I think the first thing I need to be doing is not thinking about, seaweed and fish and things. I think I really need to be thinking about what I'm going to add onto this. So I'm going to keep it this way up for now, I think, because I'm going to show you, I came up with the idea of adding more texture to the background, but also these colours are very sort of, you know, this is yellow, this is blue, this is grey. That's not really very helpful, is it? So what if we started mixing up the colours a little bit? Let's just get, oh, let's find a pair of scissors. Just a moment, please, while I find a pair of scissors. Here we go. So I've got all these little scrappy bits. Some of them are the ones I took off from this corner, if you were watching last week. So once you start to add other colours into other bits, I've got my little tray of scraps here. Once you start to do this, that's not a very good piece, but you start to add in other little colours, and we're mixing up what's going on here, and instantly for me, I don't know if you'll find it the same, it starts to become something. I don't know, it's really weird. The surface is changing, and these little flecks are making it, I suppose, look more like a coherent piece of water rather than land, beach, water and something else over here. So I kind of thought, this is interesting, and it's still got the same sort of, energy going on with it. Just see what wants to go where. And obviously this is something for me to play with, and it won't be like this. These are literally scraps that I'm just toying with the way of getting some sort of colour mixing going on the surface. You see what it's doing? It's like an illusion, isn't it? It's a sort of an optical illusion that we're creating. And I've no idea exactly how it's going to go. This is going to be the hard bit next, is actually working on an area and seeing what's going to come up. So the other thing I thought, well, I would add in is some lacy bits, which is what I would sort of traditionally use with, if I was doing a seascape. I think you'd probably do the same sort of thing, adding in some bits of lace. You see, these can all be embellished onto the surface, and it starts to make some sort of sense to me. I hope it does to you too. I like the idea these can be sort of scrunchy and not flat because they'll be embellished. And I'm not particularly even thinking about the sections, as you like, the yellow, the blue, the grey. I'm just going, oh, let's put that on there. So I'm going to start to play around with this some more. I'm going to get the embellisher going. There may be things else that I want to add on. I might want to add some yarns into the mix. I usually do. Things like this can be really helpful, just to be adding in. I mean, this could be things on the surface of the water. I don't know. It's all up for grabs. I don't know whether I want to add some darker colours in, possibly. Let's just chop a bit of this up and see what this does for the price of fish, as my mum used to say. Here we go. You know, I don't know. There could be anything going on in this water. The more you add, the more fun it gets. So I think I'm going to have a fiddle around. I'll probably start on one area. I'll start on one area and work across, or I'll work up. It's a bit overwhelming, isn't it, if you try and do the whole thing in one go. So I will be just playing about in my usual fashion and just seeing what comes. So let's get going and let's have some fun. Okay, so what I've done so far is I've just been to my stash, paid a little visit to my cupboard, and I've got out some other greens which I think might or might not be of use, and I've obviously got these beautiful yarns out. This is the one I was showing you before, and this is just another lovely one. These were both, I think they're hand dyed from, I got them on a Scottish island, and it'll come to me. It was a wonderful lady with a shed full of gorgeous dyed products. It was lovely. So I got these two yarns. And I've also picked out some more turquoisey sort of fabrics, just some shiny, bright light. This one's got quite a nice texture to it. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be using, but this is a starting point to get me going. It's like priming the pump, because otherwise I'm just sitting here going, I don't know what to do. So I find the best thing, go and get some fabrics out, even if I don't use them all, and that will help me get going. So I'm going to start cutting some bits up, and I'm going to stick them under the embellisher and see what happens. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now. You can see I've added lots of bits onto the surface, and it's really, for me, this is really coming to life now. It was quite kind of textured before, but now this is really, isn't it just lovely? I just want to touch it all. It's very touchy-feely, and I like the feeling that it's giving this flow to it. It's adding to the flow and the sense of movement. There's one or two bits that I might add a few more bits onto, but I've just had lots of fun embellishing. It's taken me a while, and I'm sorry I've done it off camera because it was quite fiddly diddly, and I needed to really concentrate on getting it how I wanted it. Sometimes when I'm trying to film and talk and do stuff, it gets a little bit complicated in my head. So I think perhaps I'd like to add a little bit more texture into this bit so that it kind of joins in with this, so you get this feeling that it's all one body of water, but that there's this light, this patch of light, just, you know, so the surface of the water is going to be similar. So you can see I've already added a few little bits on here with some lace and a little bit of extra yellow, just to make sure it feels coherent, so it all kind of feels the same. So I'll just cut some little pieces of yellow up. Okay, so I'm just cutting up a little bit more of the yellow to put in that middle section. I don't need a lot. I'm just going to cut some little pieces like this. It's such a pleasurable thing to do. Very simple. And I just adore this yellow. I'm just in love with this yellow. Whoever thought I would be in love with yellow? I do like yellow, but I've never really worked with it, I have to say, down the years. I don't know why. It's never been my colour. But over the last few years, I've definitely worked with it a lot more than I used to. That's probably about enough, actually. So these are just very, very roughly cut, and we'll just get those embellished down. Okay, so here's my little bits of yellow, and it's quite interesting, I think. I've probably got too many, and they're probably too big. Obviously, they will shrink down. I might have to trim them down a bit. I just kind of cut them roughly. What is quite interesting, I think, is when you add them onto there as unembellished pieces, because obviously this has all been embellished down. This is just how it is in the natural, and I think it's quite interesting the way it reflects the light. You could be doing something quite nice by just adding little pieces of this in. Actually, I'm not sure whether I'm going to or not, but it's just made me think, ooh, I wonder what if, my favourite question, just let me see if I've got my scissors. Let me just get my scissors and we'll have a little play and see if I like the way this looks. This is what I do all the time. I just play with things, and by adding bits on, you suddenly perhaps get another idea, a new thought pops into your head. So you could be just adding some little pieces of this. Oops, sorry, my cutting's really rubbish today. Quite interesting, isn't it, when you do that with little pieces? Ooh, and they could just be added in with the stitching, so I wouldn't embellish them down, I would just put them on there. And I'm just wondering whether I quite like that. It adds, I've been wondering what to do with this area, because obviously like this bit and this bit, I've interchanged the colours, so we've got greens and we've got blues, and we've got more green over there, more blue over here, with some of the silvery grey and a little bit of yellow here and there. But I was wondering what to do with this, and actually I'm just wondering whether that would be a good idea. So I just stitch it down, so we'll get this lovely sense of reflection of the light, and again sort of movement. But I'm not sure whether that's actually textured enough, because obviously the rest is quite textured. Ooh, I'll have to have a little think, won't I? I'll have to have a little feel into that and see if I like it. This is interesting. This is where playing just takes you down the track and you don't know where you're going, and I love that. It's just so much fun. Nothing set in stone. Everything to be explored and experimented with. So I'm just wondering whether I do that instead of actually putting bigger, more textured pieces on. And it could be that you just do a little patch of that. It may be that you don't do the whole thing. It might be that I'll do some more little bits of white lacy bits to add in as well. So little tiny bits of this that we could be adding in. Just again, so you get this sense of movement. No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that at all. Whether I would use some of my, I've got some of my bigger lace here. I would just do some little bits of this. Embellish down or stitch down, I'm not sure which. I always like to try things out. I find if you try things out and you look and you put it down, it's a bit like putting a, you know, when you're painting a room and you get some little match pots and you paint some little squares on the wall to see if you like the colours or not. So it could be that you do little different areas. That's rather nice. I don't know where that's come from. It's a nice shiny bit of something. I was just looking for my other, this is my other favourite lace. This is lovely. Don't you just love this? It's the most beautiful lace, and it just chops up very nicely and embellishes. It just gives a hint of sort of waves and movement. Oops, that bit hasn't quite worked there, has it? So I need to kind of just play with this and have a little sit and a little feel into it. And I may take it all off and not do it at all. I reserve the right, as I say, to change my mind. And these can be either just stitched down, just sort of held in place in little bits like that. They can be gathered up, or they can be embellished. And depending on how much embellishing you do, you see, as to whether you get the whole thing held flat or whether you let the edges ripple up like that, which is what I've done with the other pieces. So I think I'm going to go away and have a little think about it. It's nearly lunchtime again. I think you must think I'm always eating on this channel. Basically, it's lunchtime and I think I need to go and have a dose of soup, and I will come back to it and have a feel into it. I do quite like the sense of movement of that, but obviously it's very different to this area, which might be good. It might be good to have this contrast. We shall see. Ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba.